good role models for women. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Hello, and welcome back to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. I am so happy to have you here, and I'm so proud of you for doing this work, for digging in to patriarchy and societal norms for women, to figure out that you're so much more than what they want you to think you are. You are so much more than the expectations that they put on you, and that you do have the right and the ability to live life on your terms. You can make your own rules. You can live life as you choose. And that's what we are all about here at Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. I wanted to start out with a story that I saw. It was very discouraging. It was very, it was just one of those things where I was just incredulous. I was like, I cannot believe that this is happening in 2024. There were two young girls. They were probably around college age, and they were at some high-profile sporting event. I don't know what it was. I just know it was a high-profile sporting event. It was outdoors, and it was very hot. And these two girls who are friends went and got ice cream. And, it's in a cup. And I'm guessing since, by the time they got back to their seats, the ice cream had started to melt. So they just started licking around the melted parts, like you would with a cone. Well, apparently ESPN put a camera on these two girls, and according to the girl who posted the video, went on to talk about them for 20 seconds about the fact that these two young girls were eating ice cream, that they were licking around the sides and the top of the ice cream for 20 seconds. And I've been in radio my whole life, and you have no idea how long 20 seconds truly is. It's a long freaking time. And the fact that it's okay to sexualize two girls eating ice cream on national television is still okay is mind-boggling to me. Totally disturbing. Because this is what happens to women when they are just out and about and trying to live their life, minding their own business, enjoying a sporting event, and having a little ice cream to cool off. And this is what I mean when I say that women don't have the same rights as men. Nobody would be talking about two men sitting in the stands of a sporting event licking ice cream. Never would happen. Ever. So, women are sexualized all the time. And then they get all of this attention for being sexualized. And in this day and age, we know, a lot of us know, some of us know, it's not really the greatest thing to get attention for. But, imagine 20, 30 years ago, the attention would be very alluring. That a situation like this would be something that these two girls would like. Now, luckily, these two girls did not like it. They realized what was happening. They were being used in a way by a television network against their will. They took two girls eating ice cream and made it sexual. So this is what I mean. When women cannot eat ice cream in public without it becoming sexualized by others, that is not women living freely in the world. So what does this mean now? Does this mean that they'll never eat ice cream in public again? Now women have to watch eating ice cream. I mean, it's strip it down. It is so ridiculous. And it makes me so angry that women can't do something as simple as eating an ice cream without it being turned into something sexual. And like I said, obviously, there's some people at ESPN that still think this is noteworthy, something that can be discussed. These women did not appreciate it. But 20, 30 years ago, they probably would have. They probably would have liked the attention, because we've come a long way in the last 20 and 30 years. And women now know that we are much more than sexual beings. We are much more than just men finding us attractive. But back then, we may have just liked the attention. And what would that message have sent us? Oh, being sexualized will get us attention, especially from men, which is what we've been trained to crave and to want and to do all we can to achieve that. So then these two women would become more sexualized in everything that they did, because they got so much attention the first time that they think, well, if I just do more of it, I'll get more attention and more attention and more attention. And this is the vicious cycle. Now, luckily, these two girls, and I am so grateful for the generations that have come behind me, especially Gen Z, they know what's up. They will not be used in the way that the boomers and the Gen X have been used to just be sexualized for any and every reason. And here's the thing that really, really gets to me. That it's okay for the people at ESPN to turn an innocent thing like eating ice cream into something that turns sexual for 20 seconds, to be discussed for 20 seconds. But if the girls then turned around and did something to sexualize themselves, well, then they'd be sluts. Because, we all know that sex sells, right? That men have deemed it that they want to see more sex. They want to see hot girls. They want to see this. They want to see that. But the minute a girl claims that for herself, that's wrong. So it's just supposed to be a gift that we give them. We're just supposed to allow them to treat us however they want, see us however they want. But God forbid we take our own sexuality into our own hands and treat it the way we want to treat it, because then that's wrong. Somebody can do it to us, but we can't do it for ourselves. I hope you get what I'm saying. Do you understand what I mean? That it's okay for men to sexualize women when they're doing something completely innocent and pure. But the minute a woman tries to sexualize herself, well, then she's just that kind of woman. So it's okay for men to do it to strangers. But it's not okay for a woman to decide, I'm going to be a sexual being and embrace that. Like, say Madonna. How much crap has Madonna gotten over the years? Myself included. I have looked down on Madonna many times, and she was my idol growing up. She became so sexual, and I just grew up thinking, you don't do that, girls. Good girls don't do that. And I lost some respect for her. And now I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that I let them play me. because it's okay for everyone to sexualize Madonna. But how dare she sexualize herself? Right? It seems a little wrong. Something seemed a little off. Yeah, because it is. Because it is. And I had a similar experience to this when I was also young. I was in my 20s. I was working at a radio station, and I was the person who answered the phones in the morning for the morning show. And one of the guys that worked on the show came into the little office where I sat, where I answered the phones, and I was eating a banana. And he picks up his phone and goes on to the office-wide intercom and says, just an announcement, Wendy is eating a banana. Wendy is eating a banana. On the intercom that went through the entire office. Now, for somebody who has not a great memory, doesn't remember a lot of stuff that's happened in her life, I sure as hell remember that. I can picture myself still sitting there feeling horrified. I was horrified that somebody picked up the phone to announce on the intercom that I was eating a banana because he sexualized me without my permission. Not only without my permission, but while I was doing something as innocent as eating. So this is my answer to those who say, what rights don't women have? They don't have the right to eat in public in peace. You know, when I cracked open the peel of that banana, never in a million years would I have imagined that it would turn out to be a humiliating experience for me. And this is where we've got it wrong. I shouldn't have been the one to be humiliated. I should have turned the tables on him. And still, I don't know what I should have said, but you know, maybe that's what we need to do. We need to come up with these stock answers of comebacks to these people who have the audacity to do things like this, to say things like this. Now, when this happened to me, it was in the 90s. ESPN should know better at this point. And I guess I am making an excuse for my coworker. It was acceptable then. It still was a horrifying experience for me. You know, how would they like it if we turned every little innocent thing that they did into something that would embarrass and horrify them? You know, maybe I should have said something like, oh, are you jealous because the banana is much bigger than you? I don't know. Turn the tables on them. Make them feel as horrified as they just made you. Because they asked for it. We didn't. It's unbelievable still in this day and age. So I wanted to talk about role models for women. There is an article, an opinion piece in Newsweek this week. In Newsweek, a respected news magazine, talking about Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift, the complete opposite of who I mentioned earlier, Madonna, who has never sexualized anything to do with her career, ever. She writes songs, she records songs, she performs songs. She's just the all-American girl living the American dream. And they still have to find something to complain about when it comes to Taylor Swift. So, in this opinion piece, let me see. I want to see the guy's name so that I can give it to you. Where's his name? John McGillian has this to say about Taylor Swift. Some excerpts from the article. The Americans' merchandise sales are absolutely astronomical, with devoted fans known as Swifties eager to buy anything associated with her brand. Although her economic impact is extremely beneficial, it's worth asking if Swift's influence extends positively to other areas. I mean, she's the biggest artist in the world. In the world. More specifically, is she a good role model for young girls in the U.S. and beyond? Numerous pieces have been written explaining why she is. I would like to offer some pushback. Swift is now the most influential celebrity in America. Yay! Most influential celebrity in America. Her popularity is staggering, and her position as a cultural colossus is unquestionable. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Here it comes. At 34, Swift remains unmarried and childless, a fact that some might argue is irrelevant to her status as a role model, but I suggest it's crucial to consider what kind of example this sets for young girls. A role model, by definition, is someone worthy of imitation. While Swift's musical talent and business acumen are certainly admirable, even laudable, we must ask if her personal life choices are the ones we want our sisters and daughters to emulate. This might sound like pearl-clutching preaching, but it's a concern rooted in sound reasoning. He goes on to say that her highly publicized romantic life has been a source of prime tabloid fodder for years. Not her choice, by the way. Done against her will, by the way. She's dated numerous high-profile men, at least a dozen. This revolving door of relationships may reflect the normal dating experiences of many young women in today's world, but it also raises questions about stability, commitment, and even love itself. Should we encourage young girls to see the Swift standard as the norm, something to aspire to? Or should we be promoting something a little more, shall we say, wholesome? Would any loving parent reading this want their daughter to date 12 different men in the span of just a few years? This is not an attack on Swift. It's a valid question that is worth asking. Okay, so the 12 different men in the span of just a few years, So he considers from the time that she was 17, 18 to the time she was 34, just a few years. That's just a few years. And we're supposed to take the word of a man who doesn't even know what a few means? Because that's the real span of years, from the time that she was 17 or 18 to 34. And she had a 6-year relationship in that span. So, I just don't understand why they feel the need to make it sound worse than it actually is. Because she didn't date 12 different men in the span of just a few years. She did it in the span of 34 minus 18. I am not good with numbers. That's right. I'm going to be doing it here. Okay. Carry the thing and 412. I don't know. I can't figure it out. 14 minus 8 is 6. 16 years. Oh, I did it. It took me a long time, but I did it. 16 years. 12 different men in a span of 16 years when one of them was a 6-year relationship. That is something that is to be held in very high disregard. Because what we really want our young girls to do is to marry the first person that they come across so that they can look worthy in the eyes of men and society and be miserable. That's what we really want our young girls to do. We want to give them the impression that once they get past number 2 or 3, they're going to be soiled and spent and nobody will want them. So you better hurry up and get that, get that ring, get somebody to make an honest woman out of you. And here's where it really comes down to. She's been dating Travis Kelce for almost a year now, who is also 34, who is also not married, who is also childless. Where's the opinion pieces on him not being a good role model for young men? This is what I'm talking about. And the double standard is so clear. It is so in your face. And it's said with such a full chest that you can't miss it anymore. You literally can't miss it. And I have to think that this guy, when he wrote this, knew what kind of reaction it was going to get, and yet he did it anyway. I don't know what reason he has to stir this up. Maybe he's really on feminist sides. Maybe he really thinks that women are more than that. And maybe if he puts it out here like this, then people will talk about it. People will open their eyes to how bad the patriarchal norms are for women in this country. I'm sorry, I had to clear my throat. It's been really bugging me. So I think the point of this, and I don't really think that, by the way, I just think that he's just a man who doesn't see how women are held to different standards, not to the extent that he needs to see that. Because again, why are we not talking about Travis Kelce? Why are we not talking about the bevy of men who have never married and do not have children? Why are we not talking about John Mayer, who's now in his 40s, I believe, and still not married, with no kids? But that's okay for him, just not for her. So the whole point of articles like this is to take the most successful artist in the world, the most influential celebrity, and to tear her down because she doesn't have a connection to a man. That's the point of this article. That you can be the most influential celebrity in the world, and you're still not good enough because you're not tied to a man. Just like when Bucker, the kicker from the Chiefs, mentioned her in his speech at the graduation, calling her my teammate's girlfriend. That was done absolutely on purpose. He stripped down the most influential celebrity, and I keep using that word because that's what he said in the article. He stripped down the most influential celebrity in the world to just being someone's girlfriend. These are all done on purpose. It's strategic. It is a way to make us women feel not enough, to feel less than, to feel like we always have something wrong. And I heard something today that just was so good. It was so good that I wrote it down and left it in the living room. But I think I can remember. It was a woman saying that the reason women are constantly looking for outside validation from men, from bosses, from parents, from friends, is because we have been conditioned to not validate ourselves. That we won't feel validated until we get it from somewhere outside of ourselves. Oh, yeah. If that is not the honest truth I have heard in a long, long time. And that, my friends, is why I am doing a 15-day challenge coming up soon. I will have all of the details all sussed out, and I will tell you exactly how this is going to work. But this 15-day challenge is designed specifically so that you validate yourself, that you no longer need outside validation to feel good about yourself. And then you can live life on your own terms. Because I can tell you something about the healing journey that I have been on the last few years. I have lost friends. I have lost family. All of my fears of being my true, authentic self, that people would leave my life, have come true. It's all happened. And I wouldn't change a thing. Because I get up every single day knowing who I am, what I'm about, what I'm going to do, what's important to me, and I make sure I do that. I am myself fully, completely, and 100%. And there is nothing that will ever feel more liberating and freeing and joyful than that. Because here's what it really comes down to, is if people, and I know it's easy to say, if people leave your life because they don't like the real you, well, then you don't want them around. And I know it's easy to say that. I used to say that to myself when I heard people say that about, if you go on this journey, blah, 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 if somebody leaves your life, they weren't meant to be there, or, they weren't worth having, or they don't really love the real you. And I was like, blah, 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 I'll still be alone. Yeah, you know what? Exactly what they said was going to happen happened. A lot of people left my life, but I also gained people too. I have people that have stood by me, friends that have stood by me, my husband who has stood by me, my husband who is extremely happy in our marriage. We've had to make some adjustments through the years. Him for me for him, more him for me, because I have gone through some drastic changes in the last couple of years. And I communicated with him and I said, listen, we have to make sure that as we change as people, that our marriage can handle those changes, that we can embrace those changes instead of letting them drive us apart. And we had conversations about it, more than one. We still have conversations about it. Because when you love somebody, you embrace all sides of them. And if they are evolving and changing and becoming somebody that's a happier, more authentic person, then you embrace that. Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to get better. We're supposed to change. And when we know better, we do better. That's how this is supposed to work. A lot of people don't follow that path, and that's fine for them. But I can tell you this, if I had to pick me from 5 years ago or me today, I would pick me today every single time. I am happy. I am clear on who I am. I am filled with purpose, and I will not stop doing the things that are important to me, no matter who doesn't like it. Because I don't care. I don't care what they think. Because I am happy and I am free. And that's what I want for you. And that is why we're going to be doing a 15-day challenge very, very soon. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you all of the details. So moving forward, what do we do? What do we do moving forward to try and change this conversation, to try and change this narrative? Well, unfortunately, we have to have the men on our side for this. Men have to be the ones to call it out. And here's why. Because nobody's listening to us as women. If we complain that we're being sexualized for eating an ice cream, they're going to be like, oh, poor you, because that's something that they think is good. They would love that. So we need to get a certain amount of men to understand where we're coming from and to be the ones to call out the behavior. Just like with everything when it comes to sexism, men have to be the ones to correct the behavior. Just like, and I learned this during the George Floyd, summer of 2020, Black Lives Matter things. There was a story that I read, and it has always stayed with me. It will always stay with me because it was such an eye-opener for me. It was a woman posting about her husband taking her car to fill up the gas tank for her. And as he pulls into the gas station, he gets surrounded by cop cars. And they order him out of the car, order him to the ground. They start putting handcuffs on him. And the guy's just like, what? And they're like, oh, there was a robbery and you matched the description of the guy. And, the description of the guy was black. Could you imagine that being the only description for a white guy? Well, he was white. Okay, that narrows it down. We're gonna go get that white guy. That's what happens to black people. Honestly, that's what happens. They become just black. So they're in the process of trying to arrest him, and finally, a white man comes out of the little mini mart section, and he says, "Hey, I saw him come from the other direction. I know that's not your guy." You know what they did? They let him go. And do you know why? Because a white guy said that. Do you think they would have done the same thing if a black guy came out and said, "Yo, I saw him come from the other direction. That's not your guy"? Do you think they would have listened to that black guy and let him go? I don't think so. So we need men to be the ones to solve the sexism problem, just like we need white men to help solve the racist problem. And it's a tall order. We have to get men on board. It's been a problem. Hopefully it's something that we can fix. And we do that by having conversations and trying to get them to see our side, to give them our point of view, to explain to them what it's like to not be able to eat an ice cream or a banana in public, and hope for the best. We also can continue to talk about it amongst ourselves, get other women that have been, put into this status quo, this is just the way things are, get them to realize their own internalized misogyny, like we all have. I'm still struggling with it. I'm still trying to dismantle it. It's a process. It's something that has been in me my entire life. And it takes work to not automatically operate on that system. But I'm doing it. I'm working hard. I'm trying my best. And I'm spreading my message so that I can help you see the truth about how women are set up to fail by societal norms, that women can never win. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you would know exactly what I mean. So what do we do moving forward? That's the real question, right? I'm always talking about the status quo, right? The status quo. Society wants the status quo to stay in place. That's what's worked for them forever. To keep women doubting themselves, not feeling enough love, searching for love, doing anything they can to feel worthy, to seem worthy in the eyes of society and in their lives. So I want you to remember quo moving forward, okay? Quo. Status quo, quo. Q, question everything. Honestly, question everything. There's something that I try to keep in mind now. It's a very good barometer of whether it's a sexist remark or not. Is it something they would have said to a man? It's a very simple barometer because more times than not, 9 times out of 10, maybe 9.5, 9.75 out of 10, if somebody says something to you that they wouldn't have said to a man, it is a sexist remark. For example, playing pickleball one day, the ball hits my hand on the paddle, and it hurt. So I immediately pull my hand up and I start looking at my hand because it's just a natural instinct, right? And I get comments from men like, "Oh, did you break a nail?" No, the ball can't just beamed me in my hand and it hurt. Is it okay if I look to see if I'm bleeding or something? And I said that one time to a guy who said that to me. I said, "Don't be sexist." He's like, "How's that sexist?" I'm like, "Oh, it's sexist." So you need to, think about these things. Every time you're in a situation and your instincts tell you, we are taught to ignore our instincts. That is the first thing that really hurts women to start with, is we are conditioned to ignore all our instincts. And instinctually when somebody is disrespecting you. Even if you can't place exactly what it is, there's a feeling that something just happened that you didn't like. So I want you to just question that to yourself. Why did that make me feel odd? What was it about that statement that just didn't sit right with me? Question it. What was it? Was it sexist? Was it disrespectful? Was it hateful? Was it passive aggressive? Whatever it may be, I want you to question everything. And moving forward, I want you to, the you and quo, understand that the goal by society standards, patriarchal norms, is for you to never feel worth, for you to never feel inherent value, for you just being the person that you are. That you need to earn value. You need to earn praise. You need to earn love. None of that is true. But do understand that's the message you've been getting your whole life. But you can ignore the message. Your past doesn't have to be your future. You can work to feel your own value and to live life on your terms. And the O in quo from status quo, Q, U, O, operate under this new knowledge. And you'll see how women are always being told they aren't good enough. You will see it everywhere. Every commercial, every magazine on the stand, in the stores. You're going to see it in books. You're going to see it on TV shows. Women are constantly being told they're not enough. They're not good enough. They can't get it all done. They can't look great after a 10-hour day coming home and cooking dinner. They can't look, perfect and want to have sex with their spouse. The list is endless, honest to God. I put up a meme not that long ago that said, a woman saying, "I just birthed an actual human being. It came out of my body. I made that." And then there's somebody that says, "Yeah, but do you look hot again yet?" Yeah. They dismiss something like making a baby. Oh, all women do that. It's what women are made for. We create life inside of our bodies. And we literally get no credit for that. We're literally like, yeah, so let's name the baby after the dad. It's so ridiculous to me. So, quo, question everything. Understand the goal is you will not ever feel value inside. You will always have to seek it outside. That's what we're up against. And operate under this new knowledge. And you'll see how women are always being told that they are not good enough. Your teeth are not white enough. You have too many wrinkles. You are getting jowls. Your hair is gray. You name it. We're not good enough. We are not good enough. And look out for the information coming for this 15-day challenge. I don't know why I keep saying 50. It is certainly not a 50-day challenge. It is a 15-day challenge to living life on your terms and knowing your own worth. So I want you to go on out there now and be badass. Remember, we are stronger together, and I'm always cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.